Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui Podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Hello, live stream. Oh, chat. Oh, wow. This is official. Should I keep the mask on? Oh.
You can keep it off. Yeah.
Huh?
I said you can keep it off. Some of them have been having it off since we have ours on. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll just keep it down.
All right. Let us know when you're ready.
You want to go ahead and
Okay,
start,
look at that. Zeno, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, we were just telling AJ we're stoked because this is the most people of color we've seen as voice actors.
Yes.
So exciting.
And it means a lot, like seeing all your beautiful faces. Like, wow. Like,
Yes.
Yeah. This is really cool.
So, of course, you have been so busy with so many roles within
Thank
voice
you.
acting, from hacks with My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
You got Romero from Restaurants
Restaurants
to
of the
Another
World. Yeah, Romero. Some people didn't know it was me at first. It was just cool. I always like it when people don't know it's me. Because it's like it makes me feel like I'm doing my job right.
Yeah.
You know, like,
You did a good job, because I was like, who is that? And I had to
Yeah.
look it up, and I was like, oh, we're going to see him this
yeah.
weekend.
And Caitlin is the director of that show. Caitlin, and I love Caitlin Glass. So we did Horimiya together. And I think the sub-director was Emmy Lowe. She was my first time working with Emmy as a director. With her as a director, it was cool. Yeah, I love her too.
And then you also got under your belt, you got Tokyo Revengers also, and then you got a whole lot others under your belt. So how's it been being a voice actor during the pandemic?
Very busy. Like when everything shut down, voiceover, it was like kind of the one thing that kind of continued, and it really did like kind of save. I'm very blessed, I'm very blessed to have been as blessed as I was the last year and this year, because like when everything shut down, like voiceover continued. We could continue production with voiceover and animation and video games and the like. So it's just gotten busy. Like the year of the pandemic was the busiest year I think I've ever had in my career, and this year was, I feel like, even busier somehow. Very busy. I think that's the biggest thing I can describe. Working, but like a wealth of opportunities. You can, with at-home recording, you can record for anyone from anywhere, but mostly from your house.
As far as your career, how did you get into voice acting?
So I took this program called All About Kids, like however many years ago. And it was like I forget how many weeks, probably 4 or 5 week intensive, where you learned how to act, sing, and dance. You had to be a triple threat in order to compete. And one of the classes I had to, you wrote your own monologue, or you could choose a monologue or write one. So I chose to write one. And I auditioned in front of a lot of agents. And my eventual agent over at CSD, Melissa, she picked me and wanted to sign me. So once I signed with them at first to only do commercials, but they sent me a voiceover audition, just like, because I fit the specs. I was young. It was for like a young Black kid in Ben 10 Alien Force, and I booked it. And then I started learning about voice. That was my first voiceover experience. So then I started taking classes with like Tony Gonzalez, Charlie Adler, and started learning about the art of voiceover and like how it's done. And since it was something that I had done before and I had history in, I kept studying it and auditioning for it. And eventually one thing led to another, and more auditions came about, and then I started doing anime. I auditioned for that at Anime Expo, a studio called Bang Zoom. They would hold the open auditions. So I did an open audition I didn't pass the first couple times. I lost the first year and the second year. So the third year I took it again, and then I was on their roster. And then I started working and auditioning different places, sending my homemade demo out to a lot of places at that time. And one thing led to another. The more I worked with people, the more people started recommending me places, and then God was like, he opened the floodgates. He was like, here's work. Yeah, here are your dreams.
Yeah. And we were, talking about this with some of both with AJ and Anara, that over the last 2 years, entertainment has been really diversifying, and which has opened up, like I said, we're excited to see so many people, especially it's rare when we have more than one Black voice actor of color and everything. So it's great that we're seeing this diversity and everything. But my next question is, you have dabbled voice acting in video games like Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Yeah.
How different is voicing video games versus anime, and which project have you enjoyed the most?
As what's your video game project have I enjoyed the most, or just
video game or anime?
Anime. Right now, I feel like the biggest difference between video games and anime is anime, I think, is often stylized in a heightened realism, where you still have to be subtle, but not subtle enough where it feels like you're low energy. But I feel like a lot of video games tend to prefer cinematic reads, which are very naturalistic and grounded, which I try to do in I guess everything I do. But sometimes an anime would require for me to take on a character voice. Vanitas is up here, right? I probably wouldn't do that in a game. They would probably just want to stick to my regular voice and as close to I guess realism as possible. And that's how Miles Morales kind of was. I did a lot of bits in Miles Morales, so I was and the only way I would change my voice is if I had to play somebody older or younger, or try to put on my best New Yorker accent, right? And I think that my favorite project, I guess in recent memory, the case study of Vanitas has been one of the most fun dubs I've worked on in a really long time. David Wald is just a great director. He's so actor friendly, and he really, really prioritizes his performance and creative choices, and just really, really having fun. And once he's having fun, I'm having fun, and everybody's having fun, and it's a lot of laughs. And on top of that, I get to explore a lot with the character of Vanitas. So that's been my favorite so far. Some of the most fun I've had dubbing anime in a while.
I gotta ask, because you voice Hulk, and you're versatile with the different types of characters. But how do you feel about the quality of POC main characters, such as the samurai, Afro Samurai, the Yasuke, and Cannon Busters?
So that's a good question. Actually, I've never been asked that, but it's a question I think is very important. Yes, I would like for there to be different types of Black main characters, protagonist characters. I find a lot of Black protagonist characters often are kind of in the vein of Yasuke or Afro Samurai, really, rugged violence, which I like. I'm all for it. I love Afro Samurai. I love the scene in Yasuke where I love Yasuke as a character. He's very calm, and he was I don't want to have to kill you, but if I do, he's that dude. But I think it's expanding, but I do think there's so much room for so much more. Being Black is not a monolith, and I think me and Eris and AJ can attest to that. Not just in who we are, but the roles that we play. And I think that can be reflected in the kind of protagonists we see in our media. There's a show that I really love working on called Craig of the Creek, and I know it's very important. It's a very, very important show. Yeah, it's a show that I would have grown up loving, seeing myself in, and I think that's kind of more what we need to see. Craig is just a regular kid. He's just a regular kid who likes to go outside and play. He carries a bag. It's kind of like a purse, and a staff. You know what I'm saying? He's a good kid, and he likes drawing. It's just a good show. And it doesn't center around him being Black, even though being Black is an important part of his story, because it is an important part of all of our stories, but it's not a central part of all of our stories, even though it is a central part of our experience. And I think we could have that in all avenues of the media we create and the media that we consume, especially as far as anime is concerned, Black protagonists. So I like to see more cool ones, more like more heroes. As far as like that's concerned, I'd really love to see more heroes. Like more like if Yuji Itadori was black, I feel like that would be so cool. That would be like one of my favorite characters. So yeah.
I love your shirts.
Thank you.
Yes.
Stray Rats. Sonic. I love Sonic. Sonic's black in my head, just while we're on the subject.
That was kind of the direction I was going to go. But a little bit different of if you could voice any character from your childhood, who would you love to be the voice of?
It would probably be Sonic. Yeah, the voice of my childhood. If not Static, probably Sonic. I think Sonic is a really cool character. I was thinking about this the other day in the car. I was like, man, like I would love to voice Sonic one day. Yeah, he did.
Actually,
Or Ninja Turtle. Like I feel like being a Ninja Turtle would be cool. But there've been like the Rise of Ninja Turtle. I think two of them were voiced by black people. So yeah, I think so. I think that would be my answer. I'm trying to think like, yeah, like because I feel like Static is still like there's still a chance that I can voice Static one day. Sonic, I would love to voice Sonic.
honestly, you're giving me live action
Static?
vibes.
I like that. I love that. Thank you. Yeah.
We're gonna
Maybe
put
one
that
day
in the
put that in the
atmosphere.
universe,
Yeah.
but before I get too old, do it, Any other questions?
Okay. Now, of course, with you doing video games, are you a gamer?
I'm a big gamer, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite video games you like to play?
Kingdom Hearts is like my favorite game. It established a lot of like my personality. It had a very, very influential impact on my life growing up. Like Sora as a character was a character that I was like, he's nice and he's friendly and he goes to these different worlds and he makes friends. And the first thing he says to anybody he sees in trouble is, how can I help? And like, I think growing up that left an incredible impact on my life. And that kind of kindness and that kind of like how he was able to make so many friends and have this positive impact on so many lives. Like I aspire to be like that. So Kingdom Hearts is definitely one of my favorite video games of all time. But I love, right now I'm playing a lot of Apex Legends. That's like my favorite game to play right now. And I started Deathloop, which is really good. If your game has black people in it, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna buy it. Jet Set Radio Future is a game I loved growing up. It was a favorite of mine. The World Ends With You is a favorite of mine. And I'm trying to think like my favorite, like The Last of Us.
Oh my god.
That's like that. I aspire to be in a game like The Last of Us. Like that's my like goal, is I want to be in a project that has that kind of cinematic storytelling, and then I can go to the mocap like stage and be in the suit and hold the prop gun. Like I just feel like that, like I will be immersed in the world. Like that's the kind of game I want to be in. So that's one of my favorite games of all time as well. I'm a big gamer. I think that was like the last game that left like a huge impact on me. Yes.
How important is it to have authentic diversity? I mean, as in like, yeah, you're diverse and you have a place. And make sure not just you're diverse. We'll have you over there. Then afterward, we just did it for the moment.
Repeat that for me.
Authentic diversity, that they're just not placing you for just the moment, but
yes.
actually
Like how
making the change.
Yeah.
Truly.
So is the question like how do we encourage like
how do we encourage and what do we warn ourselves against? Like how do we stop ourselves from falling into the
Okay, I think I'm getting it. Yeah, falling into I'm not going to be your flavor of the month because you're trying to hit your diversity quota.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is about for me is about demanding like what you want creatively, right? Like often I will try to put myself in positions where I can audition for, or I'll have opportunities to be something that interests me. Like for example, if I wanted to play like for example, if there's a new anime coming out that I've been a fan of, that I've been following the manga for, and I know the anime is coming out, I know what studio it's going to, I'll more than likely ask to audition. I'll more than likely be like, oh, I'd love to audition for this anime if that's okay. And see if pitch myself to the studio and be like, I'm a talented actor. Here's my resume. Like, here's what I can do. I'd love to be a part of this project. And also it's about like being like, if they send you something, right? Like if I get sent a breakdown, and there's like 15 characters and 2 of them are black, and I get sent the 2 black characters, I'll tell my representation, hey, I saw this breakdown, one of my peers got this other character that I think I'd be okay for. Like, can I read for that as well? Like, I'll ask to like do more than any kind of box that I feel like anyone's putting me in, because I just feel like I have to advocate for myself. And thus, when I advocate for myself and I succeed, I can advocate for everybody else. As an example. Yeah, I think that's how I think an individual can combat, individually in this industry, we can combat like not being the flavor of the month, because that is a box we can get stuck in, you know, being like, oh, we need a black guy, let's get Zeno. Yeah, so I try to do things that creatively interest me, and I think following that, which is my truth, I'll always land in an authentic position.
I'll ask this real quick, and then I'll let you ask your question. So, and this may seem a little controversial, maybe, or you may have true feelings, however, on it. In a previous conversation I had with a panel of Black femme voice actresses, someone had brought up that it's more important, even on the other side of not getting typecasted, of being more open to having people of all races play all races. So in the scenario of, let's say you have a list and someone non-Black plays a Black character, how do you feel about that?
I think it depends. I think a lot of what Black people want are opportunities. The reason why I think Black people are all often like, this character is Black, how come they're not playing by a Black actor? That actor probably isn't hurting for work, right? If, like I said, like my previous example, if I get sent a breakdown with 15 characters and 2 of them are Black, I have a 2 out of 15 chance of booking that role. Meanwhile, my peer, who may also book the Black character, is going to audition for all 15. So it's about opportunity. If I feel like I audition for everyone and the other and my peer audition for everyone, then I can't be mad. We both have the same amount of opportunities and the same equal chance of getting that job. But since things aren't that way, then that's why we're like, well, this person should have been Black then, you know. And also I just, my personal like belief as far as that's concerned is like, I think it's just really all about culturally where this character is from, right? Like, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable auditioning for a Latin American character if that character culturally is Latin American and they speak Spanish in the show, you know, and they talk about like foods that are cultural to, you know, Mexico or Puerto Rico or wherever this character is from. If I'm auditioning for an African character, more than likely someone from Ghana is going to know about Ghanaian food. I won't. So like, I think that also should play a factor. And I think representation is reflection, and that also should play a factor, right? If you have your cast and your cast is all white and you're casting white people, Black people too, where are the Black people going to see themselves? That's why I think like people, it's important that I'm here that you guys can see me, right? That I get kids, I get teenagers, people who are like, oh, I didn't know I could voice act before I saw you. You know, it's important. I think so. I don't mind anybody being able to play anybody, because that's supposed to be how the industry works. But I don't want to ignore the importance that representation has, especially for people who are fans of the mediums that we enjoy. People want to see themselves as the hero. People want to see themselves in anything that they consume, and I think it's only fair that they get to see that. So I mean, I do think it should be equal, but I also think like representation is important. Black kids deserve to see Black kids playing the hero at the end of the day, because they're either going to see themselves playing the hero or somebody else, and why not themselves, so they can love themselves.
Thank you very much.
Sure. So you had mentioned that you're a big gamer.
Mhm.
I imagine that you've been on Twitch before, correct?
Once or twice. Yeah, I don't have a personal challenge, but I would love to. I'm always like, oh, I should start Twitch. Like, I want to make a Twitch. Like, I want to stream, but I don't know if I can commit to that time wise. So that's one of the only reasons why I haven't yet.
Okay, I can understand that. So, like, in the couple times you've been on there,
Mhm.
there's been this thing within the Black community and Twitch streamers where we don't see enough representation until things are called out because there's been a lot of hate raids and things going on.
I've heard of those, yeah.
And Twitch hasn't really been doing anything about that
Mm.
unless it's catering to other big name streamers that are Black.
That's unfortunate.
And now they have, tags that are, for Black and African American,
Mm.
but there still isn't a rotation of seeing them on a carousel when you first open Twitch as an app.
Yeah.
What would you say to that platform as a gamer?
I'd say that you're alienating your audience. You're alienating your supporters, and the power of Black people. We carry the culture. In my personal opinion, even your popular non-Black streamers are probably using slang that was originated from Black people. So like it's unfortunate like that you would kind of alienate a section of your community in that way, and not do enough for your community in that way. And like I feel like Black people are always going to find their own avenue, and they're always going to do their own thing, and everything that like I feel like Twitch has, there's probably Black influence somewhere there. I feel we influence every part of culture, whether that be TikTok, Instagram, anything. Like everybody was saying on fleek, that's Black people. Like TikTok trends often are originated the renegade dance. They're often originated the things that go viral online, including how gamers speak. Probably is often originated from Black people. So I just think that I would say to Twitch is like it's unfortunate as a gamer, as someone who and it adds to the already big problem in gaming. Gaming, I feel like the community is the furthest behind, and when it comes to representation, video games often don't center Black people, or Black people are often figureheads that are killed off or supporting the main character. I'm often never playing as a Black person in video games, which is why I go out of my way to buy games that star Black people. So it's only perpetuating my personal belief that gaming as a community has so far to go when it comes to representation, and when it comes to properly representing and uplifting Black people and Black voices. And I'd say Twitch, like as one of the biggest streaming platforms, they could do their part in really making us feel seen. And I feel like that'll only help their platform grow, as opposed to now, we're in conflict. Now there's people who don't feel, and because that's kind of partially how I feel about TikTok a little bit too. I feel like TikTok doesn't elevate the Black people that really elevate its platform. So as a game, it's disappointing to hear. As a game, and I think like the Twitch can recognize the power it has to be a front runner and a leader in representation. It's opportunity, and if they don't take it, it's a missed one.
That's true.
All right, we are.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it cedar lands, without any type of payment and no signing off, called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii in a perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then and of course, versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place, multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe. As a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation, colonizers call for annexation. Network out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.
I'm Steve Bloom. I've been a voice actor for more than 30 years, playing characters like Wolverine, Starscream, Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty.
With Bloomfox Studios, I've learned so much about myself.
Learning to breathe, to no fear, to getting ugly in front of the mic.
One of the biggest changes I've noticed, at least for me, is how much my confidence level has gone up.
Done an Eastern European video game, an e-commerce commercial, a documentary. If you're thinking about getting into voiceover, just do it. Jump in.